Hello everyone, welcome to my nature diaries. I'm going to be sharing with you today 7 tips on how to start a new art journal, and in my case a nature journal. Sometimes we get a little flustered or maybe anxious about how to actually physically get started with one, and hopefully these tips will help you with that. The very first tip is really to choose your journal, and in this case I'm going again with the Strathmore watercolor journal I've used in my last and previous videos. I just finished one of these, and it's a nice heavy watercolor paper, so you could actually even do multimedia work in it as well. As we open up the watercolor journal, we notice there's a cover sheet, and then we go right to our first watercolor page. Sometimes that blank page can be a little daunting or cause anxiety because we're afraid we're gonna mess up our journal or something, but it's okay if you want to skip the first page. I don't know what that is about it, but if you want to put a quote there or a table of contents, you can wait till the journal's done, or even a poem. Sometimes it just helps take away a little bit of that fear of the first painting or spread that we're making. So go ahead and skip that first page if it causes you any kind of anxiety. I went ahead and drew my first layout that you're going to see in a moment, and I decided not to skip it simply because my tip number 3, I know my theme. I already know that I want to make a nature diary, which is like a nature journal, and therefore I'm not too concerned about what it's going to look like in this front page or this first layout, because I know it's going to be in the theme of a nature diary or journal. And knowing your theme can really give you confidence as you pursue and start your new art journal. For this particular painting, I'm going to be using masking fluid or this drawing gum over here, and also with a paintbrush, an old paintbrush that I dip in some hand soap in order that the drawing gum will wash away very, very easily. So masking off these little white flower areas, I'm getting ready for my painting. And that leads me to tip number 4, is to prep your work. And I did that in this case by drawing in my picture to begin with in pencil, which gives me confidence and courage, I guess, to go ahead and really just dive into the painting. So anything we can do to prep our work for that particular layout or page that we're going to be working on can really be a great way to start your nature journal or art journal by just feeling confident of what you're going to be putting in there. Since I'm going to be making more of a formal art journal where I want it to be finished for people to see, preparation is really important for me to do, and it really does take the stress off of the art project for me when I kind of have a good idea about what I'm going to be doing. So that's just a thought, is to go ahead and make sure that you prep and prepare whatever it is that you're going to be making, drawing, or doing for your art journal. Tip number 5 is setting goals for your journal. These goals don't have to be lofty or unattainable or even that many of them. Like in my case, I have 2 main goals for these nature diaries, and that is to practice art, to draw, to paint, to work with different media. These are very important for me to do. And the second one is to finish journals. I don't want to just start something and not finish it all the way through. That was so important for me. It was so important that I even started this YouTube channel to make myself complete art journals and nature diaries. So having goals can be super, super helpful. Again, taking away some of that fear when you're starting a new art journal of any kind. As much as goals are really great to have for an art journal that you're making, another great tip, I think, number 6, is set boundaries for your journal. In other words, these are like self-imposed restrictions or guidelines for what you want inside the art journal you are creating. So in my case, I am making a nature diary, nature journal, so I'm including plants and maybe insects and something you find in the woods or obviously nature. but I won't be probably putting any pictures of anyone in a cafe, or I'm not going to be doing architecture or urban sketching, because I want to keep it fairly narrow and niche, because this is a nature diary after all. Setting up boundaries or guidelines for yourself really can help with keeping your vision straight with where you want to go with your art journal, and it can also help relieve decision fatigue, because sometimes that can happen where we're trying to make all these decisions on what to paint or what to draw or what to do, and when we really have a clear focus or idea of where we want to go with that theme by setting up boundaries, that can really help. And another boundary I'm having for mine is I want to get this journal done in about a year's time. At least I don't want to go too far over a year. And just understand that we don't have to be super strict on ourselves, but these guidelines really can help us to be more creative, and it's almost like it's getting some of those other questions that are floating around out of our heads, and we can just sit down and make beautiful art. Sometimes it could feel like setting guidelines or boundaries can feel counterintuitive to our creativity, but truly it's like having an art challenge like Inktober, or when somebody's giving you drawing prompts. It's really a great way to help us to be able to just again have a clear idea of where we're going and what we're doing. I just would like to remind you that if you haven't, please subscribe. I'd love to have you be a part of this video channel, and also like, comment, and share these videos if they're helping you at all. I super appreciate it. Thanks so much. And finally, tip number 7 is don't limit your creativity. Now, this really feels like the opposite of what I was saying in tip number 6, but I really feel like what's happening is that when we have boundaries or guidelines, all of a sudden now we are able to allow our creativity to just come forth and to just flow, really, because we've narrowed down so many things. We've made decisions ahead of time, so all we really have to do is just again make really great art. And for me, allowing my creativity to flow means that even though I'm only drawing or painting specific things, what I'm going to be doing with them is I'm going to be using different media for it. I'm going to be using brush pens and ink and glass pens with it. I've already done a lot of that, and also mixed media, materials. There's so many things I want to do. I want to experiment with gouache as well. And then also experimenting with my layouts. That's another way for me to be able to be super creative with this particular journal. With all these other tips kind of in place, I feel like what happens, or what we're left with, is the ability to have fun and to enjoy our creativity and the art we make. And we don't have to think so much about a blank page and what are we going to put in it and what's it going to look like. It should help us to be able to enjoy the process, and for art to become and feel therapeutic, like it's really supposed to be. I would really love to hear if any of these tips have helped you at all, or inspiring or encouraging, especially encouraging you to start a nature journal or art journal if you haven't already. And also, if you have any tips, because we can all, again, learn from each other. And I would love to hear if there's anything that you have done that's helped inspire you to want to start a new journal of any kind. It doesn't have to be a nature journal, but those kind of tips can really help us learn again as an art community. As I work on completing this nature diary, I hope you will subscribe and follow along. And again, I appreciate your likes and comments, and just follow my journey as I go ahead and create one page at a time and one journal at a time. I also want to encourage you that when you make art, it's so valuable, it's so special. There's no one that is going to do something exactly the way you do. And so remember that your expression and your art is powerful. So I just encourage you with creativity, and I'm hoping that you have a wonderful week, and remember that you are so amazing and so creative. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.